Aston Martin's performance at the 2025 Monaco Grand Prix wasn't just disappointing, it was revealing. While the tight streets of Monte Carlo often expose a car's raw strengths and weaknesses, this weekend laid bare much deeper problems within the team. Fernando Alonso showed his trademark precision by sneaking into the top 10 in qualifying, but a mechanical failure ended his race early. Lance Stroll never found his footing, starting near the back and finishing well outside the points. For all the talk of momentum and investment, the AMR25 struggled where it mattered most, highlighting a disconnect between ambition and execution. And watching it all unfold was a man with a reputation for spotting flaws that others overlook. Adrian Newey has landed at Aston Martin, and he's not easing in quietly. Just one race into his new role during the high-stakes Monaco weekend, the legendary designer dropped a quiet but pointed observation that reverberated far beyond the garage. It wasn't theatrical, but it landed with the weight of a verdict. The message: something is fundamentally off within the team. While others might have asked for time to settle in, Newey started probing immediately, studying systems, talking to staff, and peeling back the layers of the operation. And it didn't take long for him to find cracks that raised serious questions. Yes, he praised the team's reservoir of talent, but only before delivering a sharp reality check. The issue, Newey warned, wasn't about personnel. It was about structure. The team, in his eyes, lacked cohesion, clear direction, and one critical technical tool that simply wasn't doing its job: their simulator. More than just subpar, Newey branded it fundamentally flawed, a major handicap in modern Formula One, where development lives or dies by data. Coming from the most successful car designer in the sport's history, this wasn't just a technical critique, it was a wake-up call. Adrian Newey might be new to Aston Martin, but no one expected him to unveil a grand blueprint for 2026 car. Just weeks into the job, the legendary designer has already rolled up his sleeves and dived straight into the guts of the team's operation, only to come up coughing at the scent of dysfunction. "My first job," Newey explained, "was to really understand how the team functions, what it does well, what it doesn't, and how to build a plan from there. That plan, it turns out, starts with structure." Because while he praised the high level of talent within Aston Martin's ever-expanding roster, Newey pointed to a different kind of problem, one that can't be fixed with raw brilliance alone. "There are a lot of very, very good people here," he admitted. "Now the challenge is getting them to work together in a more structured and organized way. It's not a question of competence, it's cohesion that's missing." And in typical Newey fashion, he didn't shy away from pinpointing the root of the issue: the team's DNA. What once was Jordan, the feisty underdog of the 90s, evolved through Force India and Racing Point before rebranding as Aston Martin. That meteoric growth, Newey believes, hasn't been without consequences. "It started as Jordan, a small nimble outfit that punched above its weight," he said, "but in a very short time, it's grown into a large organization, and frankly, this year it hasn't delivered." But for Adrian Newey, it's not the size of the organization that raises red flags, it's the state of one of its most crucial tools. The simulator, a vital pillar of modern Formula One development, is, in his words, a major liability. "I think it's fair to say that some of our tools are weak, particularly the driver-in-the-loop simulator," Newey said, not bothering to sugarcoat it. "Right now, it just doesn't correlate with reality at all, and that's a serious handicap. In today's Formula One, the simulator is where champions are forged. It's the brain behind every championship-winning team, where drivers refine their setup, engineers test new upgrades, and strategies are rehearsed in virtual battles before ever seeing the real-world grid. If it's not mirroring real-life conditions accurately, then the entire performance pyramid starts to crumble, and crumble it has." Newey made it clear that the simulator's issues aren't a quick fix. "The simulator needs a lot of work," he admitted. "We're probably looking at a 2-year project to bring it up to where it needs to be. Until then, we'll be flying a bit blind. We'll have to fall back on experience and instinct while building the right tools behind the scenes." For a team aiming to compete at the sharp end of the grid, that's a brutal reality check. Aston Martin may have the budget, the ambition, and now the brains of Adrian Newey, but if their tech can't keep up, they'll be fighting with one hand tied behind their back. The AMR25 has failed to live up to expectations, consistently losing ground not just to the sport's elite, but even to teams it was outpacing last season. After a promising 2023 that saw Aston Martin emerge as a regular podium threat, the 2025 campaign has been a story of stagnation and stepbacks. Despite the fanfare around their cutting-edge new headquarters and a well-funded push toward title contention, the results have been underwhelming at best. Newey's early assessment cuts through the PR gloss. Shiny new facilities and sky-high investment mean little if the technical technical backbone isn't up to the task. And right now, one of the most critical components, the simulator, is fundamentally broken. It's a sharp reminder from the sport's most decorated designer that real performance isn't built in boardrooms or brand launches. It's built with tools that work, and Aston Martin, it seems, is still missing one. Adrian Newey's blunt admission that Aston Martin's simulator will take up to 2 years to fix is a sobering dose of reality for anyone hoping for an instant revolution. Even with his legendary expertise, there's no shortcut to the front of the grid. The notion that Aston Martin could leap into championship contention by 2027 or even 2028 is now clearly off the table. It's a project, Newey admitted. We know where we want to go, but we need the right tools to get there. And that journey won't be easy, especially for team owner Lawrence Stroll, whose ambition has driven Aston Martin's meteoric rise. The high-profile signings of Fernando Alonso, the investment in a cutting-edge headquarters, and now the acquisition of Newey himself, all were part of a grand plan to fast-track the team into the championship conversation. But Newey's comments have pierced through the hype with surgical precision. For all of Aston Martin's impressive growth, they remain a team caught in transition, too well-funded to be an underdog, too underprepared to be a genuine frontrunner. Yet amidst the frustration lies a critical upside. Newey isn't just diagnosing the problem, he's taking charge of the solution. If his career has proven anything, it's that he knows how to turn potential into results. And calling out the simulator so early into his tenure isn't criticism, it's leadership. Because this rebuild isn't just about fixing hardware, it's about transforming culture, processes, and performance systems. And in Newey, Aston Martin now has someone who won't settle for anything less than perfection. His presence brings clarity, but it also confirms something many feared. The team isn't ready to win just yet. Newey's blunt assessment may not just ripple through the garage, it could shake boardrooms too. With Aston Martin relying heavily on high-profile sponsors and investor confidence to fuel its F1 ambitions, his public criticism of the team's core infrastructure might raise eyebrows among stakeholders. While some may appreciate the transparency and leadership, others might start questioning timelines, returns, and the team's readiness to deliver on lofty promises. In a sport where perception drives partnerships, Newey's honesty is a double-edged sword that might disappoint Aston Martin fans, investors, and even people inside the garage. But it's an honest assessment, something this sport rarely hands out without spin. Championship-winning F1 teams aren't built on money and marquee signings alone. They're built on the right tools, the right systems, and the right people leading the charge. Newey's arrival marks the start of that transformation. His message from Monaco was clear. Aston Martin's real journey starts now, and until their tools catch up with their talent, they'll be chasing the front through the fog. Is Newey's 2-year simulator fixed timeline too late to make Aston Martin competitive under the 2026 regulations? Let us know in the comments. Until next time, goodbye for now.